So we welcome 2023 in Hawaii as we always do. Lots of fireworks and plenty of food. I ate way too much Zippy's Korean chicken. With the start of the new year, I want to talk about what my hope is for Hawaii in 2023. And these aren't necessarily things for myself, like I want a new car or truck, or I want to make more money so I can go take that trip to Vegas. These are things that I hope for the entire state of Hawaii, that I think will benefit a lot of people and make life better for us locals. Of course, one new car would be nice. I mean, the buggers say 20 years old.
Hello from Hawaii.
The first thing is more housing. Housing is and will probably be the biggest challenge for the state of Hawaii. With the median home price on Oahu at about $1.1 million at the end of 2022, things are tough, especially if you're looking to buy. Hawaii just needs more housing available. And that means more of it needs to be built because the inventory that exists is just too expensive. The supply is so low that the prices can't move down. And I think some people think that if we just wait long enough, if the interest rates rise, the prices will automatically be more affordable. But I think what we really need is more supply. It's the limited supply that's making it hard to buy in Hawaii. Either that or everyone in Hawaii gets 66% salary increases just to match the cost of living. And I don't expect more housing to be built in 2023. At least housing that will be meaningful to help out those who are low income to moderate income families. I understand that it takes time to plan, design, and finance these projects. But side rant. When we often talk about housing and affordable housing, we like to use the term AMI, or Area Median Income. Well, I hope we stop using that terminology and start using some real figures. Because most people don't know what that means and where they fall on that scale, and that scale is constantly changing every year. So here are the figures for 2022 and what you have to earn for each range percentage. Now I understand that we have to use some sort of labeling in this discussion, but for your average person, they won't know what the average median income is. So these numbers don't really mean that much. Also, and this is not a state thing since I believe the US Department of Housing and Urban Development uses AMI, but I wish that they would start using the mean or average instead of the median. Now the mean is the average where you add up all the totals and then you divide it by the total number of inputs. Whereas the median is just you line up all of the amounts and it's the one in the middle. Now depending on the numbers, I don't think the median is the most accurate way to measure any amount of data, especially when it comes to income in Hawaii. So I think it's kind of misleading. And really, are we to believe that someone who makes $73,150 a year is low income? Because to me, that's pretty high. I mean, that's the kind of job you'd like to have right after college. But apparently that's low income based on our median scale. And if you look at previous years and where each income sits for this particular scale, a low-income individual in 2021 was earning $67,700 or $5,450 less. In other words, if you didn't get a $5,000 raise in 1 year, you're sliding back. Okay, rant over. So again, I don't expect new housing projects to be built in 2023, but I'd love to see some affordable housing projects that are greenlit by the end of the year. And maybe these are in the forms of affordable rentals, but it would just be nice to have some housing, particularly some homes for sale. And while that doesn't mean more families will be housed in 2023, it at least gives these families and households some hope. When I was fortunate to buy a place in Hawaii, it hadn't been built yet. And what that allowed me to do was save over time, and it really gave me something to look forward to. I was invested and committed to staying in Hawaii. And over the months and years, as I saw the building rise up and get higher and higher and higher, it felt really good. I mean, I did what I could to save money during that time. I ate the same thing for lunch every day for at least 1.5 to 2 years. Peanut butter sandwich and pretzels. Again, not healthy, but I was trying to save money. I stayed at home. I didn't go out, and I really tried to keep my spending down as much as I could. And during that time, it helped that I saw the building each day on my way to work because it just made it more real. And I think it's really hard to save when you don't see what you're saving for. And so if people had hope, if they could look forward to a project or a home for themselves in the very near future, at least that's encouraging and they're gonna want to try and save up for that. And another aspect of more housing is the permitting process for those who are trying to expand their current living situation. Now, I know that the city and county of Honolulu is working on this. I know that they have new leadership and new staff. But man, we got to get that backlog cleared out, because while people are waiting, they're either going to just build without the permit and chance it, or they just got to sit there and wait as the costs to build get higher and higher. Some may even die waiting. Now, my parents are looking to build and expand their home, but they've been waiting for a long time. I mean, how much longer are they gonna have to wait? And that wait is costing them thousands of dollars a month in rising costs, just like many other people that are just waiting for their permit to be approved. And so this is why I understand why some people are just gonna build anyway. I'm not saying that that's right, they shouldn't be doing that, but I can see why they're doing it. You know, with how much things cost and the uncertainty of the waiting period, it feels like, what other choice do some people have? So whatever the strategy is, whether it's more condos, more rentals, or faster permitting, I hope that we can figure this out. I hope that that changes in 2023. And I know it's probably gonna take all three to make any meaningful impact on our current housing situation, but we need it as a state. Without housing, people are just gonna leave. I think local people can handle the other increases in cost of living here, like food and transportation, gas, things like that. But with housing, that's an issue that creates a breaking point for many people. Because when you can go to the mainland and buy a house in Vegas or Utah for under $500,000 and it's huge, and in Hawaii you can only get a fixer-upper for $1 million and you gotta knock it down anyway, it's kind of hard to keep justifying that to yourself. Okay, the second thing is planning ahead for the keiki and kupuna. In Hawaii, we talk a lot about keiki and we talk a lot about kupuna. We know that the keiki are the future and the kupuna are to be respected and taken care of as they get older. For 2023, I hope that we see more done to help both groups on this spectrum. And I'm talking about strengthening pre-K and long-term care in Hawaii. So first, let's talk about long-term care. This is one of those things that if you don't know about long-term care, it might be already too late. As the kupuna get older in Hawaii, someone has to take care of them. Oftentimes, the most affordable way to do that is for a family member, usually their adult child, to take care of them. And this might not be so bad if the family member is already retired, but most people have to work in Hawaii. And so it becomes difficult, I think, for a lot of adult children with full-time jobs to take care of their aging parents. And on top of that, if local families are moving away to the mainland while their parents stay here, who's gonna take care of them? Those families are either gonna have to move back to Hawaii, they're gonna have to move that family member to the mainland, or they're gonna have to pay for expensive adult care. And we saw this with my grandma when she was alive and I was in high school. I mean, there are times where my mom had to stay at my grandma's house for the weekend and take care of her. And they had different shifts between all the different kids. I mean, even I had to drive her to doctor's appointments and make sure she was okay during the day. Stuff that I was gladly willing to do for her, but again, as a high school kid, kind of hard. And I know that sometimes we don't think about these things. Our kupuna, our grandparents, are independent and they're just there to spoil us with money and free meals, but they have a right to enjoy and live out the rest of their lives with dignity and respect. And as they get older, they require more and more assistance to be able to do that. I think just like it often takes a village to raise a child, it sometimes takes an entire family to care for an aging kupuna. And I know it's hard. We're all busy. We all have work, which is why I hope that we develop more support systems for that type of care. Just help relieve some of the pressure that many of these families are under, because that silver tsunami in Hawaii is real and it's gonna hit us hard if it hasn't already started. Now, the state had the Kupuna Caregivers Program, which provided caregivers who were working a certain number of hours a week with a small stipend just to help them cover some of the services and costs for taking care of the person that they were in charge of. I'm not sure if we still have this program, but it's an interesting idea. I try to imagine the relief it would be to get some help for services if I was the one taking care of someone full time. Now, on the other end, I think we need more options for childcare at a young age. We need early education teachers and classrooms. According to the Executive Office on Early Learning, more than 40% of Hawaii's kids start kindergarten without preschool. I mean, how's that possible? That's so much. And the studies show how important early education is. I mean, I appreciate grandma and grandpa watching the kids for free, but watching YouTube videos and playing games on the iPad aren't exactly preparing the kids for school. Now, I know the state is trying to get more pre-K classrooms in the public schools, and they just appropriated $200 million to build more classrooms to reach the 100% capacity goal by 2032. But man, 2032, that's a long time from now. I mean, I appreciate the long-term goal of 100% capacity, but our family, like many, we need it faster than that. With private preschool costing between $1,100 and $1,500 a month, I mean, it's a tough bill to pay. And I know it's our choice to have kids and we're responsible for their well-being and education. But it's no wonder that more than 40% of Hawaii families don't send their kids to preschool because it's either rent or mortgage or preschool. Now, right now we're in the process of looking for preschool for my oldest son. Obviously, we want him to go. I think the classroom environment with other kids is gonna help him out so much in his development and social skills. And we've been fortunate enough to save some money for a while so that we can afford to pay for private preschool. But still, it would be nice if it was free. And even then, I just hope that there's a spot for him because I know how competitive it is at this young age. And supporting these kids doesn't just mean building more classrooms because frankly, I thought we had classrooms already at these schools. We could just use the old 6th grade classrooms that were at most elementary schools before and then turn them into pre-K classrooms. But I think it's also important to remember that we gotta start getting some teachers in these classrooms. It's already hard enough to get teachers for K through 12, and I know it's gonna be a challenge to get teachers for pre-K as well. I'm not sure how to incentivize that besides just increasing their pay, but it's something that we sorely need at some point. Unless we just decide as a state that preschool is a privilege and not a need. My last hope for Hawaii is a return of Aloha. Now, this doesn't imply that Aloha is somehow gone or somehow left Hawaii, but things have changed over the past few years here. The lockdown rules really isolated us and altered our culture, even if just temporarily. Although I did enjoy not having as many tourists around and no traffic. But there's been a change in how we treat each other, how we talk to each other here in Hawaii. And I know people are tired and stressed. I know people seem to be driving faster and crazier than ever. I mean, I've seen so many cars running red lights. But I think these are just the side effects of being confined and stressed for 2 years. I'm hoping that people will realize that things are different now. They're not exactly like before, but they're enough like the old days, like before, where we can at least start heading back in that general direction. And for me, I experienced this at my family Christmas party this past year. I hadn't seen most of them for about 3 years. When I was there, I almost didn't even know what to do. You know, for some, the last time I saw them was when I had no kids, and now I got 2 kids. And you'd think that it would be easy to step back into things since they're my family and we just get back to how things were, but it's hard. And it's not that I was scared of getting sick. It was just that when you don't see people for a long time and interact in that type of situation, it takes a while to get back into that social setting. And I know it's slowly returning, and it's gonna return at each person's own rate. I just hope that collectively we return soon, and that of course will depend on how comfortable people are. And I understand that that may take longer for some. So these are the things I like to see happen in Hawaii in 2023. Maybe these are too optimistic, I don't know. I just hope to see some of these changes because it feels like Hawaii is still picking itself up from the economic beating that it took. Sometimes it feels like something has to give in Hawaii because things are getting too hard, but then we all just find a way to make it work and life finds a way to go on. We either keep up or we drift away. So here's to a better 2023 in Hawaii. Thanks for watching and aloha.
Hello